I'd like to show you how I made my presets that I used in the Introduction to uScope video. Now I'm going to go a little bit fast, so feel free to stop and pause this, or in YouTube you can play it at a partial speed instead of at full speed. First I will make my presets and I will write down the saved number. Then I will go to the car, load the preset, and once I get a reference file saved, I will then save the preset again and write down the new saved preset. Finally, I can go into the computer and rename those presets. I'm going to set this scope up to do a throttle positioning sensor, and the uScope comes with a preset in it. However, I'm going to show you the settings that I like to use. So we're going to use a 1-to-1 probe. We're going to change the voltage down to 1 volt. We're going to come over and make the time at 200 milliseconds per division. We're going to set the position 1 from the bottom right here. We're going to come over and put the trigger type at a single. We're going to put that trigger voltage at 2.04, and that's exactly where it is right there. We're going to be on the rise. Then we want our center trigger to be 2 from the left. So let's navigate to menu. Let's go down to our horizontal trigger right here. Let's move that position, and then we will move that so that we are 2 graduations from the left. Press OK. We want to make sure that our invert is off. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on our meters, and we're going to want to set this to a minimum and maximum. So let's come down to the min-max, press OK. Now let's go ahead and press the B button so we can save that. That's going to be 078. We're going to write that down. And now we can go over to the car, make the measurement, make any adjustments necessary that we want to make, and then we'll push the B button again to save that capture on the screen for our reference file. I will set this scope up to do a manifold absolute pressure, or a MAP sensor. And we're going to use a 1-to-1 probe. We want to change our voltage down to 1 volt. We want to move our time over to 200 milliseconds per division. We want to take our position and we want to be 1 from the bottom, or 1 graduation up, so we're going to leave that alone. We're going to come over to our trigger type and we're going to change that to a single. And then we're going to come over to the voltage and we're going to lower that to 1.84. Right there. We want to measure on the rise. We're going to change the horizontal trigger to 2 from the left. So let's navigate over to our menu. Let's go down to horizontal. Let's choose horizontal position, and let's move this over so that we are right there, 2 to the left. Press OK. And let's come on over and make sure that our invert is off. And let's turn on our meters. And this time we want a minimum maximum. So down to meters, down to the minimum maximum, press OK. Now let's go ahead and press the B button at the top of the screen. Let's save that as 077, write that down. Now go over to the car and hook it up for your measurement. Make any adjustments down here that you need to. Press the B button again to save any new settings and save your reference file on the screen. I want to show you how to complete your presets complete with renaming. Now I'm only going to do 2, but you can do the procedure for the rest of them. So I've turned my uScope on, and I'll navigate to presets, and now down to user preset. And the last one I did was 078 for the TPS. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me just find 078. So there it is there. And I'm going to press and hold it down until it turns green, although it flickers really fast because it doesn't have a preset reference image. So I've turned the key on, I've connected the car up, and I've connected the leads up, and let me plug them in. And you can see that we don't read anything yet because we're on a single trigger. It's waiting for me to operate that throttle. So let me go ahead and operate this throttle. The key is on. Open, close, open, close, open, close. So now you can see that we got 2.5 waveforms, and I like that. So let's come up and push the B button again. And you see that it saved it as 079. So I'm going to write that down because that's going to be my new saved configuration with a reference file. So if I go ahead and turn this off and turn this back on, and navigate over to my menu, and let's bring that preset back up again. Let's come back and find 79 now, and press and hold the OK button. You'll see it turns green, and then it does load a reference file. Let's go ahead and reset this. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do a manifold absolute pressure. So that was reference file 77. So let me come over and choose my reference file. Let's go down again to presets. And let's go down to user presets, and let's find 77. So 77 is right there. I'm going to press and hold that for a second. There is no reference waveform. Now let's go ahead and connect up to the car and start this up and accelerate to get my waveform. With the engine running, we are on a single trigger, so it's waiting to pass this trigger line. So let me go out and give the accelerator a quick throttle wrap so we can get that waveform on the screen. There we have our reference file. And if I want to do that again, I can simply just press the A button. That'll reset my trigger. Let's try 2 real quick wraps with the gas pedal. We have our reference waveform along with our minimum and maximum. So let's come up and push the B button again. That will save it as 080, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Then if I turn the scope off and turn the scope back on, return back to the menu, bring up the 080 preset, press and hold OK, wait till it turns green, make sure the reference file loads properly, and we're all set. So the final steps to this setup is going to be to plug the USB cord into the computer and then into your uScope. Then turn your uScope on. So on a Windows computer, the filing system will open up like this. We want to go to PS User. And then if I scroll down, you're going to be able to see all those new presets that I just made, starting with 065 and working our way up all the way to 080. So the one I'm looking for right now is 079. And here are the 2 files. There's the reference image file, and there is my setup file. So let's go ahead and rename this. This is my TPS. So I want TPS voltage. I'm going to go ahead and use all caps, TPS hyphen and V for voltage. Now you just have to make sure to name the reference file the exact same name. Once again, TPS hyphen V for voltage. Now 078 was the original one that I started with. So let's go ahead and highlight both of those and then go ahead and press the delete key because we don't need those anymore. So we're going to delete those. Then I'm also looking for 080. 080 was my MAP sensor, so that was MAP with voltage. So let's name that MAP hyphen V for voltage. And then let's come do the same thing for the BMP file. MAP hyphen V for voltage. Now that I have renamed file 080, I no longer need file 077, which was my original setup. So we can just go over here and we can press the delete key on our keyboard and we can delete those. So you'll continue with similar process with all these other presets that we just made. Now let's go ahead and close this and let's go back to our scope and see if that took place. So back over here on the scope, I'm in my fresh startup. Let's come back over and navigate to my menu. Let's go down to presets and then down to user setup. And let's now find MAP sensor. Well, there's the MAP sensor V that I just created. Let's press and hold the OK button. Let's make sure it loads. There it loads my reference file. Let's go back to presets. And let's go ahead and find that TPS. There's my TPS V. Press and hold that down. Let's make sure that that loads. There's my new TPS. And we're all set. Now just continue that with all your new presets.